with down low is with Holy Writ. Holy Writ. Your Declaration of Independence, your Constitution, all that stuff. It's Holy Writ. It's composed with the hand. So when you write something down, it becomes yours. So now the tree is synonymous with the center or the source of something. In this case, it's the substance of things. Now, this is why we deal with Kabbalah, and we love our Kabbalah so much, is because Kabbalah resides and rests upon and within a knowledge of the Hebrew alphabet. The Hebrew alphabet is a bridge from modern man's mind into the psyche of our ancestor. Don't follow the letters. Sometimes you can. This is the Assyrian script from the Hebrew. When you see the script, see, some people say they go to a book. If you can go to a Jewish bookstore here, they got a large community in Miami. I don't know if they're big in Chicago. I imagine they are somewhere. In New York, they're everywhere, right? And you go to their bookstores. I went to a Kabbalistic bookstore in Williamsburg, in New York, and they had no books in English at all. So the guy was like, come on, nigga, what do you want in here? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, send me to. He said, nothing in here is in English. Well, I said, well, where are the Kabbalah books? Because I can read a little bit of Hebrew. I mean, I know if I can see the cover of the book it's going to say you what the book is. The first thing says Sefer. On all the books, Sefer means book, number, or emanation. And then you can figure out the rest of it. So when I go back there to look at it, I'm looking at books, and I'm like, it's Hebrew, but the shit that it's saying ain't Hebrew. Why? It's because they utilize scripts to write their own language many times. So some stuff that you will pick up thinking that it's Hebrew is really Judendeutsch, which is a way of, in German, it's a way, Judendeutsch was a code system used by the Rothschilds to hide their financial records. They would write German in Hebrew. You understand? With all of the nuances of what German entails, all of this slang and all that, so to a Hebrew reader, someone not knowledgeable of either, they would never be able to pick up the trace of it. So now, here we have essentially the same word encapsulated into this concept. Our set is X. Our set is X. The word X means tree or substance in Hebrew. X. Our set represents the substance of things in Kemet. Why? Because her crown is the throne of who? Her crown, on her crown sits the throne of who?
Osiris.
Of Osiris. Now what the hell does that mean? Why is the throne, right? Why is the throne of Osar, the great god, resting on her head? Why does it rest on her head? What does that mean? That means that his throne resides on her principle, which is the principle of the material world, the physical sentient world that you touch, you feel, you experience, is a throne, a place to have dominion. Also synonymous with having anything on or around your head, it means that it's in your head. You got a symbol on your crown, it means it's in your head. So, Osar, the great high God, manifests himself also through the mind's eye, womb eye of her. She, that's why you had several wives. That's why you ain't supposed to have one woman. Having one woman is essentially Eurocentric, closet queen fag on the low. Right? And even if you got one woman, And you forced that way because, hey, you know, you wasn't in the beginning of the game when you got married. You thought the white man was still God. You ate a little fried chicken and got them pig feet. Now you got hip. You can't flip it and switch the game up later on and be like, yo, listen, mama, it's a different game now. Unless you got the caliber of woman who's willing to make the leaps and bounds in your evolution culturally with you. Essentially, how you start is how you end. You know what I'm saying? So I had to qualify this. I'm not saying that brothers who are trying to be real with one particular woman that you are in any way not a man, but the endeavor that we seek to promote is the truth. And the truth is that the universe is polygamous, right? And that in culture and in history, any man who was of prominence, one of the key factors of knowing that he was the truth is if he had more than one woman. In fact, if he had several, he was a beast. Right? Why? Because he has not just physical wombs to manifest his endeavors through, he has the mind's eye, womb eye of her, she, who can make manifest his endeavor and agenda through her thinking, her kind words. It's nothing like before you leave to go on a journey and your queen says, I see you when you come back, good luck. That's all you need sometimes, right? That's all you need sometimes. And we see that motif when we see the, who saw the movie 300? Now you see how they left the queen behind, but she said, well, make sure you come back. I don't care how you come back. Come back alive or come back on your shield. Just make sure you come back, right? They're creating that atmosphere and that thing again with the Ovum office, not the Oval Office. It's going to be the Ovum office. They put the sister there, hello, right? That's going to be with brother. Y'all think of your brother, with Senator Mr. Obama, and then when perhaps if he gets murked, that's how we say finito, right? They're going to, by my opinion, and through sleight of hand, they're going to put Hillary somewhere in there. The objective is to have a womb in the Oval Office to make it the Ovum Office because we're approaching a time where the celestial canopy is going to be dominated by a big vaginal orifice. 2012 is when the big twat or the duat or the doorway opens up, and then the sun is going to rise within its center, and there are some deep, deep, dark inside of her orifice, deep, 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 dark clusters and concentrations of God in the form of hydrogen atoms. Our ancestors would not just chart the night sky with the stars, we would chart the dark spaces as well. Because we knew in the dark spaces we can imaginate those and bring about galaxies. Okay, so the 2012 that everybody is worried about is really happening now. This is why you're so psychic now. This is why you know everything now. You can just say someone's name and they just pop up. You know what I'm saying? All of that is going down. So now we have our set as being the X in the Torah because the tree of life is her. She is the tree of life. And here in the Medunater, very interesting that we have the throne, right, as a symbol for our set, right? We have a throne, but we also have, very interesting, we have what appears to be a mound, right? A mound. Now this sound is the T sound in the word. In Aset, the throne is us. Us. It's the us, right? Now when you, brothers who are familiar with the Quran, who are Muslim, you know that Allah, she sits on a throne, right? I say she because Allah is nothing but three. Allah is Allah, right? Mena and Al-Uzza, right? Al-Uzza, right? Now, Allah sits on a throne. Now Allah is nothing but the sound, and when we write it out, it's the visual personification of the source of physical things, right? It's not divine potential. It's not divine potential. This symbolizes the sound of source. That's why all your gods have L's in their names, because they symbolize power. L means power, right? Now, Allah sits on the arsh, or the kursi, but particularly the arsh. Who's ever heard of the Ayatul Kursi, or the Surah of the Throne? If you ever came into an Islamic home and they haven't had the big banner with the Arabic on it, it's usually the Ayatul Kursi. It's a very powerful, magical group of ayats in the Quran, right? The Ayatul Kursi. So now, the as, you get the word as, you get the word arsh. Very same, similar. But whenever you see the mound, that symbolizes T, because the mound, if I took a piece of wood, and I have a piece of wood and I have a large, like, cutting apparatus, and I cut off the wood and I'm cutting the wood, what am I cutting off of the wood? It's called shape. C-H-A-F-F, shape. It's the superfluous stuff. It's the stuff that you don't need. And what happens to it? It falls and it creates a mound. It sits on the floor and creates a mound. So now, when you get into your Torah and you go and read your Torah and you're looking for the word pyramid, you ain't gonna find no pyramid. The word in the Hebrew ain't pyramid. It's mutz. Mutz. Right? It means mound. Right? It means mound. When you look up the word for Egypt, what's the word for Egypt? Mutz. Rayim. Mitzrayim. See the mutz in there again, right? Sound. Mutz. The sound for the mound, the mutz, is this mound here. It's the superfluous edges. It's that which is shaped on. Egypt only represented, peace, Brother Sakar. My brother. Egypt only represented the place where particular souls were incarnated. It was the place where the shape from up on high accumulated. The pyramids were markers for souls who were seeking incarnation, for areas of concentricity to descend at and make themselves manifest, coalescing around the energy in that center. So whenever they create malls, not the mall you go shopping at, the mall like in Washington, D.C. and different major cities, and they put everything strategically in particular alignments, is to attract particular souls and energies to give life to that place. Okay? So it's a play on substance. Magic is manipulating the physical things. The physical. So the word for a tree is etz, which is an extension of the word aset. Okay? Now, here we have a circle. We have a circle, but in the center of the circle we have what? A black dot. The center of the circle has a keen relationship with the outside of the circle. It created a parameter. It created something, a vesture, to accommodate it in proportion to its knowledge of itself. Now what you see here, you see in red, there's a swirling. Yes? This is how everything in life comes into existence by way of the swirl. The center becomes knowledgeable of the outside by way of the swirl. Now, the circle and its relationship to the center of it, as the dot, can be described in this number, which is what? 314. Pi. Right? Now, this is actually, the 1 and 4 are just two of the numbers of the infinite numbers that come out of it. Like you have some nerdy kids in those universities, they usually like do stuff like remember the pi equation, like they can remember 100 numbers after the 3 and stuff like that, you know. But essentially they still have the number in like super huge computers looking for it to produce a sequence that can produce a rhythm that they can say, wow, there's a constant. This number, miraculously, everything that comes after this decimal point is just an unending number that never does any type of mathematical like convergence on any level. It's this chaotic after the decimal point, right? And because within this circle, there's an infinity that you cannot access immediately. Like, I don't think that people are really taking into consideration the impact of what this circle means to the psyche and what it means to this world. That circle is your key ingredient in bringing anything from anywhere into existence. It has to come in through that circular fashion. Who watched the Democratic National Convention when Mr. Obama accepted his nomination? Who watched it? Who watched it? What was he standing on?
On a circle.
On a circle piece. On several of them.
Yeah.
Several of them. Stacked on top of one another. Continuously reverberating whatever is the intent in the center. Right? The reason why you put a 5-pointed star inside of a circle is because you wanted to place a limitation and give it a context. You can't make it happen unless you do that. Your number, your circle represents the portal for you to access your intentions, power over the material force in the material world. You need that actual shape to do it. Okay? Why have they been putting 5 and 6 and 7, 8, 9 pointed stars and stuff inside of circles? Because you Moors made it up. You Moors is the ones that created the algorithm. You Moors is the ones that created algebra. You Moors created everything that defines the means by which to interpret a thing in the realm of mathematics and astronomy. Okay? Very, very significant that you call yourself a star, or you used to represent yourself as a star. They still call themselves stars, right? When you're real famous, they'll take a star and magically put a 5-pointed star in a strip in the ground over there in Hollywood. And niggas get all ecstatic and crying, and, you know, I got a star on Hollywood. You know, they essentially consecrated you, made you theirs, because anything that becomes a star, and if you know what stars is, once you kill a star, you create billions of other stars. You know what I'm saying? Thus lies the secret of my brother Bernie and my brother Isaac Hayes dying, both stars in the same movie. Right? Then you have in the Batman movie, which was filmed here in Chicago, you have Heath Ledger, who was murdered by Mary-Kate Olsen in New York City because he was in that movie Batman, and they intend to make that movie the biggest box office hit ever. Right? His performance was stellar, and the movie was about admiralty law. It was a Moorish movie. You were in control the entire movie. Even when they had the vote on the 2 boats, it was a Moor in one boat and a Moor in another. Why were they in the waters having a vote? Admiralty. Why were they burning money? Why? What's the purpose? And why did the Joker say, why so serious? 3 times in the company of 3 men, black men in particular, who he had intentions on killing, or had them kill themselves in a ritual where he took one stick and broke it in half. The stick he was breaking in half ain't nothing but DNA. And what they intend to do is shatter your relationship that you have with stellar source. As we approach, and they're doing it with bioengineering, they're doing it with fear. Okay? Disconnecting you from the stars, because essentially, give me one moment, Pop. Essentially, you are the star. You know what I'm saying? And if they kill you, shit, they can make a lot more stars. Right? So in the you want to check this movie called Tropic Thunder, right? Now, Tropic Thunder is an awesome movie because in the movie Tropic Thunder they give you the blueprint for why and how they got at Heath Ledger. In the movie, they got actors getting killed by the producers of the films. Why? Because they saying we need that money. If we kill him, we gonna make so much money. If he dies while they filming that movie, we are gonna get so much money. A lot of people don't know. After Heath Ledger signed on to the film, they made the film 727 days after he signed on. Excuse me, the movie was released 720 days after he signed on for it. They had him earmarked for ritual sacrifice from the door. And what made it even more powerful is when somebody lost their goddamn head on Batman the Ride. Remember? In the Six Flags ride? They had the Batman the Ride and somebody lost their head. Big sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? So, again, symbol literacy involved is powerful. We want to set limits. Okay, now back to our circle. Very important. The root of the word for revolving or something that spins in Hebrew is gal. The word is galgol. The galgol in Kabbalah is the whirlwind that by which things from up high descend down into this physical world. If you ever turn your water on inside your sink or your tub, you see the water goes down the drain like this in a circle. That's how things come down in the physical world, in a circle. They use a funnel. A funnel. How do you, queens, bring down the father, cosmic mind, and give it to your children? Because they always show you, when they show our set with the baby, what's he doing? He's sucking the nipple. The word nipple is naf. Naf means is another code word for Egypt. Nip is from naf, right? And nook, the word nook. When they say nook, give him the nook, the nook is to wean the baby. So the funneling device are her breasts. Her breasts channel cosmic mind, right, down into the baby's vestigial body. Why? Because the limbic system, which is the one that's associated with the pineal. The pineal is surrounded by the limbic system. It's stimulated by the sucking. See? So sisters who breastfeed the babies, you are giving the baby pineal function when you breastfeed the baby. And then you're giving the baby, if you're opening up the pineal, right? Then she's eating right, and she knows that the black man is God, then what the hell is the baby gonna know? Hello? We could stop so many miscommunications between children and family if we get diet together. Diet is terrible. Diet is your key to connecting to cosmic source. Cosmic source does not manifest itself in cheeseburgers, milkshakes, Little Debbie cakes, things of that nature. There is no cosmic science in that at all. There's no cosmic science in coffee. None of that. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, now, the root of the word for revolving is gel. And the word gull means bowl or means skull. Right? So here we have in language two skulls, as gold means spinning, to bring down. Right? Now, the skull is very significant. Who shapes it? Who?
Mother.
Who?
Mother.
Mother?
Shape the skull.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. How does she shape it?
Right here.
Nope. With the hips, Jack. Why do you think she has the most beautiful body in the world? What makes you, why do you think you love her big, juicy situation? When you see it, you be like, oh Lord, why do you think that? Because you are recognizing and responding to source. That's where your big head comes from. that has these awesome shapes that they would like to incorporate the shapes of our heads into their genus. Ontology recapitulates phylogeny. That is the biological and medical term for the advancement of the individual, promotes the advancement of the species. If just one person in here begins to eat right, coalesces with another person, encourages them to do the same, they have progeny, they have now infused into the species the redemption code to now make us a place in the future, a cosmic place. Consciousness only manipulates this material to create vestures as it evolves, to have new vessels as it evolves to its next epoch. The same body that we utilize and that we have now was different from the one we had before. That's why you got 90-year-olds and you tell people you can't eat pork. You can't eat this type of stuff no more because it's going to kill you. Well, my grandmother, 95 years old, I was with a 90-year-old playing cards in Bed-Stuy 2 weeks ago at a block party. And I was like, God damn, how she do it? And they were joking, not doing that shit you do. She eat pork chops. They be joking at me because I eat, the vegetables. And they said, well, she eat pork chops and do everything. She's 90-something years old. Now, explain that. The physical material being utilized to accommodate the new influx of consciousness that's descending no longer can participate in those old behaviors. Time is speeding up. A pig foot ain't going to do it no more. Cheeseburgers ain't going to do it no more. And when the hell are we going to leave that goddamn bird alone? When? Nobody want to laugh at that. That bird's serious down there, Jack.
What about that chicken?
Yeah, that chicken, man. Now, let me tell you something about that chicken. Chickens have sex all day long. That's all they want to do. Because that's all they've been trained to do. How many goddamn chickens is there? Right?
Yeah.
How many chickens we gonna eat? Till every chicken gone. You ever see how they produce them? They sit them so close together, it forces them. Right? And it's the same way you eat, it's the same way you live. You don't mind sitting up, living next to nobody, all on top of them. You don't mind the urge of wanting to calculate all day. Like a goddamn bird. You running around like a chicken. Right? Chicken head, they used to say to the sisters, everybody is a goddamn chicken head if you participate in that food. If you eat the food, your mouth ain't by your stomach. Creator ain't make it so you can just eat right here. You hungry? Just take some, pour it in, or eat it like that. Wouldn't that be so convenient? When you go to the gas station and they put the gas inside the car, it go into the gas tank, right? So while we just can't beat the punch, you ever seen that? When somebody's injured, they can put the food in their stomach. The stomach can digest the food and they can still live. Why does Creator have it where your mouth is where your mind is at? Hello? Why is it your portal for sustenance is the same one that you breathe out of, eat out of, everything come through this? So you want to eat a bird, a chicken at that? What is going to happen if you are what you eat? What is you going to become? It's funny, some people ain't trying to hear it, but I'm telling you the truth. If you want to deal with the tree of life, you want to deal with life, life begets life. Life begets life. What? Death begets what?
Yeah.
And who want to die? Now. Okay. So the behavior, when the behavior change, then the universe is going to start picking the best and brightest among us to be the new custodians of what it intends to bring down. You know what I'm saying? So now, the downloads come in the crystal, your first crystal. This one, your skull is very important. God was talking about, True Master was talking about this morning, that this piece of your head right here, science and archaeologists have been calling this your Inca stone. We have, some of us have distinct little bumps on the back of that neck, right here, right? This is also the seat of what's called the emerald pillow. The emerald pillow is what is it's like the you ever opened up a radio when you were little and you see these like concentrations of copper wiring, right? It acts as a buffer between your kundalini energy. If you didn't have that emerald pillow there in your medulla oblongata, that piece there, if you didn't have that there, it would the kundalini would short circuit your brain. It would fry it almost. Your kundalini that sits down at the root chakra is a nuclear power source. You know what I'm saying? So your head, the crystals in your head, the fact that you have sutures, those sutures, where you ever seen them, the skull is actually in pieces. It's connected through the sutures. Right? You see the sutures, how the sutures are connected like this? And they bond. The sutures act as channels for electromagnetic energy, flux to go through it. So when your flesh dissipates, the only thing that's left is what? The bones. Your bones are your crystals. Your bones hold the experience. That's why they were very, very mindful as to where they were buried bones. Right? Right. Right. Bones are very significant. So now, as very, very, very significant that the word for skull, gull, when they double it, it meant it gull, it meant the swirling, the vortex flow, and equals the number 72. The number 72 represents the number of quintences, or deacons. That symbol is, Brother True Master showed us a very significant picture of the brother who financed the war, right? What's his name, True? Haim Solomon. I think I got this from True Master. On your dollar bill is a symbol over the eagle's head. Right? Around is a number of 13 stars, which all formulate a 6-pointed star, right? Around this, you have these puffs, like explosions, right? They represent the 72 deaconess, right? Or the signs in the astrology are separated into quintences. So each sign sits within a degree, like 5 degrees for an point in time. When you want to call on a particular they call it the name of extension, the 72 names of God. You can call the Shem HaMephorish. You can call on one of the particular names to act as an intercessor for you in affairs. In court, the Moors would only go to court on certain days. Like you would never catch a Moor court on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like in New York, they rendered the Sean Bell verdict on a Friday. Had he been a noble, then it would have been totally different, or at least knowledgeable of the fact that he's a noble. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have been able to give the most important verdict of essentially the 21st century. You know what I'm saying? With them killing their brother, police is running up on you, just murking you in the home of commerce in New York. They rendered the verdict on a Friday, right before niggas had their little shindig to go party and forget about it come Monday. So now, the 72 puffs around this is called the Maslov, or a mazel. A mazel is the constellation. When they say mazel tov, they mean good luck or good constellation. Meaning that they know what happens in your life is an outcome of what's going on in the zodiac. And only one person or group of people can go beyond the realm of being affected by the zodiac. I speak about those people and who they are. If you remind me, I might forget in the next part when we come back from the break. And I'm going to tell you about that. And I need a specific period to speak about that in particular, on how you can circumvent being affected by astrological occurrences. Now, These 72 quintuses act as the place where the Gilgal, the spinning of the influx of all of your celestial gifts come down. Now, they come down in accordance to the 3.14, 314 ratio as it's attenuated to pi. All things of light, all light spins into this world. It comes in a spinning fashion. This world is actually a holographic image of what is going on in Sirius A, B, and C constellation, right? Or that stellar source. Everything that's going down there on that level, when Sirius B goes around Sirius A, Sirius B is created of a metallic agent that is not known on this planet and is so dense that every man on this planet would not be able to push a spoonful of it. That's how dense it is, right? This density is caught in a flux in a relationship with Sirius A. They're trying almost to fall into each other, but they're evading one another. How do you think they put satellites in the sky? Do you think that the satellite is powered by something that keeps it afloat? They use mathematics and they use ratio mathematics, like high-level math, to make the satellite fall into the Earth's orbit. The satellite is freely falling into the orbit of the planet. So here is your satellite. Here's your Earth. As soon as it's about to fall into the Earth is moving away from it. As soon as it's about to fall, it's moving into it. As soon as it's about to fall into it, it's moving away from it. The way to do that is with mathematics. So light chooses specific ratios and accesses how to come in. It comes in through numbers like the number 23. We on the 23 axis. Down in Chicago, the greatest nigga ever had a basketball. The number what? 23. 23 is a jumble of what? 2-3 ratio. My Freemasons, you know you see 2-3 when you get to the second degree. They start showing you images of that 2-3. Now, then, you know 2-3 is a jumble of 32, which ain't nothing but the first letter and the last letter of the Bible. The first letter being Beth, the last letter being Lamed in the word Israel. The first word in the Bible is Rashid, beginning. The last word is Israel. Okay? And the whole Torah is like in a sandwich in between them two words. Right? Or actually those two letters, Beth and the Lamed, which equal 32. So now, the skull becomes the recipient of ancestral cosmic light code transmission. Why do you think everybody is wearing skulls? Did they do that here in Chicago? Did they have everybody and their mama want to wear a skull t-shirt, something with a skull in it? In New York, they got some of these skulls. It's ridiculous. And people are saying, well, that's skull and bones, infiltrating the fashion industry. You know, and they got people wearing the mark of, you know what I'm saying, they're the evil ones, the people that mean them no well. You know what I mean? But actually, ancestors in control. The white boy ain't in control. The ancestors are in control. And the skull represents ancestral lineage and ancestral connections. All right? That's why they keep and maintain skulls at the tomb. Who knows what the tomb is? Skull and Bones. They have Geronimo's skull. They're alleged to have Harriet Tubman's skull. They are grave robbers. They go on missions to rob graves because they are in an unending desire to be indigenous. They will go to such lengths to acquire something. They'll go to Sotheby's. You ever seen Hellboy? In every movie in Hellboy, he's in a museum of antiquities. In this one, they were at an auction, auctioning off ancient things. Whoever, your war in Iraq ain't nothing about no goddamn oil, and it ain't got nothing to do with Saddam Hussein. It has everything to do with cuneiform tablets, high-level magic, and the portals that they have over here. Right? The portals, the portals, the portals, the portals, the portals. Okay. So now the skull is the recipient of the influx and the descent of light as it descends. Now, if you take the top of the skull and were to cut it and pull it off like this, like a hat, it would look just like a satellite, right? Now, what the hell do you do with satellites? You transmit and you receive with them, don't you? So you're walking around with the basic shape for unending reception all the time. Your skull shape acts like an antenna on a radio. Why you think they augmented skulls in the Yucatan and in Kim? They would even take, to this day, they take banana leaves off the trees and wrap them around the baby's heads to give it elongation. Whoever has you got an elongated head, you get a specific stratum of cosmic influx. That's why we always had a group or groups of people in our society who were priesthood or oracles that their job was their body to be augmented so they can be able to receive shit that we just couldn't. You know what I'm saying? And we just couldn't get. Okay? So now, which leads me to another more symbol. Here we have the fez. The fez is a representation of so many things, but it's also a representation and a reverberation of one's knowledge of pi and the circle. Now I have in my notes notes in pertaining to the notes pertaining to the Mevlavi order of Sufis. So now, the Sufi Mevlavi order are known for what? They're known for anyone? What do they have to do with the circle? What you say, Queen? Right. They have a circle, the halakha, or the zikr circle,
They
and
spin and they dance in a circle
Thank
to
you.
go into a trance.
Thank you. And in their good. And in their circle, they have things that they say. Now here's something that I wrote. Now, they had various stages in the dance. Let me read some of the notes. Okay, Rumi and his father met the Sufi poet Farouddin Attar Nashipur. They sat together, spoke with passages from the Quran, and drank the customary tea. The Attar presented young Jalaluddin with a copy of his Asar Arnam. Jalaluddin Rumi received the book. The first name of the book is Asar. The book is called the Asar Arnam, or the Book of Mysteries. See? And the order of Sufis that are prominent today are the Qadiri. The ones that you see spinning more than likely are the Qadiri, right? And they're dervish, and they sit in the zikr circle, and you see how the brothers and sisters in the hood, when we throw it up, we throw up the stuff, blood, and I know in New York they blood, and they do the crib, and then, they put the hands together and make all these fancy things. Well, the Moors bin was doing that. We used to make the name of Allah with our fingers and sit with our fingers in a manner that says the name of Allah and chant. Now, when I say Sufi, and when I say Allah, when we say Islam, many of us feel as though we are like, I ain't no goddamn Christian. I ain't no Jew. I'm a Muslim more than anything. Well, Islam is a part of a three-headed dog. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity all sleep in the same bed.
Yes,
And it's all awful. Okay? Now, the Islam that you and I have from Prophet Noble Drew Ali and from the brothers and sisters who have been doing the work to call all of the lost and forgotten information pertaining to how you are God, right? Then that is a whole different form of Islam. That Islam, and the Prophet told us, when I said the Prophet Noble Ali told us that we practice Islam, we are to practice Islam in any form of fashion that we so choose. And the Prophet of Al-Islam, when asked, there was a particular period when they were telling the Africans who converted to Islam to stop playing their music, right? And they went to the quote-unquote Rasulullah and asked them, yo, are they supposed to be playing their music? He said, absolutely. He said, you never take their culture away from the people. Now what happens is they have all of these new Islamic orders. Look at some of these clowns. In the prisons, they got these niggas, the righteous predecessors. They call I forgot the name of these niggas, but they the ones with the goddamn pants be all the way up on their goddamn knees and shit. Beard be down to here. These niggas named Leroy and Roger and them shit. You know them from round the way. They done took the Alabama black mud off their foot, now they put desert sand on their feet. You know what I'm saying? And they walking around like automatons, Arabs. Don't knowing that the 5 salat, the supplications, the fasting, and all of that is specifically made as modicums of mind control.
That's it.
Praying, I ain't praying the shit 5 times a day. If I can't get that shit in the first prayer, ain't never gonna happen. Right? The 5 prayers, and if anybody's ever made a salat, it is painful. If you ain't used to the positions, and they purposely have a position where your foot on your right, your big toe on your right foot have to point to the east. Now, and while your ass is sitting on it.
On it, exactly.
Check that out.
Yep.
Now if that ain't, and you gotta do that sucker 5 times a day until it don't hurt no more. But what happens is your body is a ledger. Your body is a book. If you work out, you know that you can stop working out for a while and your muscles have memory. You just get back in the business, right? Brothers that work out, right? So your body ain't yours anyway because you can't take it nowhere when you leave. It's just a temporary housing unit to experience where you want your soul to hyperdimensionally transport itself to by the levels of information that you have garnered in your study. You know what I'm saying? So now, here's a quote. Let me go get into this. O you who whirl in the circle of love, Allah's blessing upon you, Allah's blessing upon you, your feelings and intentions may be led, may He lead you to the truth which is the beginning. Right? This is what they're saying in the Farsi or the Persian, whatever, when they do their spin. Now they call each spin a salam, right? Now they make the salam, they make the spin, they make the recital in the second, the third, and the fourth. In the second there's 1 salam, in the third there's 2 salams, in the fourth there's 3 salams. Now when we add 3 and 1, we get what? 2 and 1, we get what? 3 and 2, we get what?
5.
4 and 3, we get what? 7. Now what is 3, 5, and 7?
Oh.
Your 3, 5, and 7 steps come from the Sufi order. The officer of the lodge in the Sufi order is called the Dervish lodge, is called the Tekes, right? And the chief musician, the officer that they call, in Freemasonry, we call him, you know, the big guy, he's in the East, you know who he is, worshipful. He got the top hat like T-Pain, really a goddamn fez with a brim on it, right? Or the pilgrim hat, how Brother Yoel broke down the pilgrim hat, which was a hat of stature with a buckle on the front, right? Now, all those hats meant something. Now, this officer of the lodge, he his responsibility is to play the music. See? To play the music. Now something synonymous here. When they play the music, you do a spin in there. When you go to the lodge, if anybody been in their ritual, you know when you was blindfolded, your ass was spinning. Spinning, 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 spinning. Everything is spinning, spinning, spinning. Everybody got to take you on these routes. You always got to go in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, in a circle. Because essentially, any place that participates in anything where they're whirling and you're in circles and stuff like that is a foreground for the influx and the descent of things. Your lodge is nothing but a huge altar. The ritual work in Freemasonry is nothing but allowing the energy and the entity that controls it to have dominion. They call it the grand architect of the universe. That's who they call it, the grand architect of the universe. But every single organization, structure has a group entity spirit governing it. What is the entity governing Freemasonry that keeps niggas at what the fuck is those things? Tailgate parties. That's Freemasonry now. A tailgate party, a barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Jesus. I went to a grand session. I just became a Mason. I'm into my metaphysics. I wrote a book on Freemasonry. I'm into that aspect of it. I get in there, you would not believe it. Master J was in there. Jesus is in the building. You hear me? Until we scrape out and destroy all of that Christian jargon, all of that bullshit out of it, Freemasonry is ailing. The membership is lacking. You know what I'm saying? There's more clandestine lodges. And we're so thirsty to do the work, something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know this, that there are more black, clandestine, irregular lodges than they are lodges, period, in the planet. We are doing the most erroneous work Freemasonically than anybody. Talking about, I don't need jurisdiction. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do. I don't need no charter. I'm the original Mason. Well, if you're the original Mason, you don't even need to deal with Freemasonic symbolism, period. You need to just build a goddamn building or something. Start building, right? We need Freemasonry. And this is me saying this, we need quorum. Our brothers and sisters need a place to shut the F up and do the work. We talk too much. We need a place where your ass leave your personal attitude and who you perceive yourself to be and your character outside, put on your stuff, and let's work. That's what Freemasonry is about. It's about creating the much needed circumstance for quorum. No one can get on with life or do something because we always beefing about if it ain't money, niggas crying they ain't got no money. Every nigga I know, come on, I ain't got no money, man. What am I gonna do? We ain't got no money. It's all rooted in fear. Anything that you do outside of love is fear, including fear in not having. The fear of lack creates lack. Lack begets lack. I ain't got. Universe said, all right, you ain't got. You bet. You ain't got. Right? I'm gonna make it so your ass ain't got. So when we come to these venues, we're here not just to receive the information, we're here to also participate in commerce with one another. We purchase from one another. When I went to Kentucky, beautiful illustration of what it is to stick together. In Kentucky, we did the lecture in an international mall owned by Somalians. The Somalians who drive cabs, who do whatever they do. When it's time to eat, you know where to go eat. Come spend your money with us. When it's time to go grocery shopping, come spend your money with us. When you want your computer fixed, come down here. You need sneakers, clothes, come down here. You understand? We need to start creating these venues, not just for pontificating and sounding slick. Like, I read a few books, okay, cool, I can articulate something. But at the end of the day, we got bills to pay, We got children to raise, and we got to recalibrate consciousness. We got to start hating money, or thinking that you ain't supposed to have no money, or a Mercedes-Benz, or a G5, or a plane, or a mansion, or a house. You know what I'm saying? But then you go back into your history and you get proud when you see you sitting in the big palace, and that you was this big old Moor with all this money and all this affluence, but you ain't got shit now. Okay? So now we understand where the 3, 5, and 7 steps of Freemasonry all come out of, don't we? Okay. Now the circle equals infinite limits. Now what's that? Ain't that an oxymoron? They're bouncing off each other, these terms. What is an infinite limit? Infinite limits. Infinite limits. Okay. The 3, 5, 7, the 3, 5, and 7 steps, when we add the major number of pi to 3, 5, and 7, what do we get? 15. We get what? 15. When we add the major number of pi, which is biblical, when you see pi in the Bible, go to the book of Kings and look at the architectural instructions on King Solomon's temple, and they'll tell you pi is in the circle of the pillars on the porch. I challenge you to go and do the volume. Tell me what the volume of each pillar is. Tell me how much volume you can fill into one pillar on each side. Then you know why fear is the secret of Yahweh. Fear is the secret of Yahweh. So now, 3, 5, and 7 plus the pet, right? Plus the pi quotient, which is 3. 3, 5, and 7 plus 3 is what? 360. 360 is what? 9. Right, and 360 is the numeric equivalency of infinite limits. 360 degrees is infinite limitations. We always talk about freedom, but none of y'all deserve no freedom unless you impose limits upon yourself. You gotta have limits. There ain't no freedom to be had unless you define the parameters upon which to express who you profess to be, essentially. So how many letters are there in the Hebrew alphabet? No. No. Bro, like, man, what the hell is he talking about? I've seen this, I've read this stuff. Now he's switching this shit on me. Right? Right?
What is it?
It's 27. It's 27. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about why it's 27. Then we're going to utilize the numbers in the Hebrew to magically give words to the numbers that we want to use. I'm going to show you how to use numbers as words and words as numbers to manipulate matter when we come back. All right? All right. 9 chambers. So now the reason why they call it the Akbeker is because Akbeker is the name of the first 2 chambers.
Is that B, B-E, Q?
B-E, yes sir, B-E-E-Q, B-E-Q-E-R. So the reason why it's called Akbeker is because the first 2 chambers are Ak, A, Y, Q, meaning Ak, right? Whenever you see, in language, whenever you see Y, it's synonymous with Y is synonymous with Y. I is synonymous with Y in language. And of course the Q. Now the Becker is the Beth. The K, this Q actually should have been a K. For those who are taking the notes, the Q should really be a K, so you don't confuse yourself. So it should be B-E-K-E-R. Okay, sorry y'all. and because it's the cough here, and then of course we have the rash. So now, very interesting, who remembers in school when they were teaching us numbers, they used to teach you your ones, your tens, your hundreds, your thousands, the different places, right? What place? They tell you what place is the number in. First place, second place, third place. Then they teach you about the decimal and things of that nature. Now what we have here is a table by which to, when you look, pay attention, you see on the top of each of these letters, Hebrew letters, you have a number. See? You have a number. So these numbers are 1, then you have 10, then you have 100. Then we have 2, then we have 20, then we have 200. In like fashion, 330, 300, 4, 40, and 400. So what happens is each letter inside of each chamber all share the same numeric frequency, just on different gradations. One is in the ones, one is in the tens, one is in the hundreds. So what does this all mean? Why is it so significant in regards to how to actually make words from your numbers? So who has a number that's been following you and your family, or you see a number all the time and you're like, there go that number again. 29? Okay. Anybody else? Any other numbers? Any other numbers?
27.
27. How about any 3 digits? Anybody ever have 3-digit numbers come at them? 315. Okay.
911.
911. Okay. So now, the way, now I have the number, now how do I make a word to it? Simply, say here's the number. What number you said? 315. We had 315. Then we had somebody say 29. Right? Then we had somebody say 911, right? This is what we do. How do we find a sound frequency for the number 315?
Go to 300.
Go to 300. What do we have? Machine. Then, now how I get my 15?
Come on, to the 10.
I go to what?
10.
Come to the 10.
I go to 10.
Yeah.
What's the 10? The yard?
Yard.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. The yard, and now I need 5. Where I get my 5 from?
Hey.
Where?
Hey.
Pi. It's almost like the pi symbol.
The he. Here it is. So now here I got a word. Here's the word for 315.
We need a black marker. We can't see that.
Well, you better use some glasses. Everybody else can see that. Right? Is the 300? Is your 300? This is your yod. The sound for this is yo. 10. Then you have your 5 and your he. Now this sounds like Shia. 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 Right? Shia. Or we can go yod. Put the sheen here. Right? This is actually the root of Yeshua. Right? Yesh. Yesha. Right? Like this. Now, very interesting. What if I make up a number that don't have a word?